Aloha aina, and welcome to Voices of Truth, one-on-one with Hawaii's future, brought to you by the Koani Foundation. I'm Ehuke Kahu Cardwell, and we're here today in sunny San Diego, California, in our continuing search to find out what it takes to turn armchair observers into active participants to create a better future for Hawaii. So if you're curious like we are, come on along with us as we visit today with Dr. Hanalei Vierra. Hanalei aloha.
Aloha. Hehe oi.
Mai ka'i no, a'oi.
Mai ka'i.
Welcome to Voices of Truth.
Thanks. Great to be here, Ehu.
Wonderful. Hanalei, you're a very special person because you're a PhD and a native Hawaiian, Kanaka Maoli.
Yes.
And there was a time, not too many years ago, as most of our viewers know, that there weren't too many native Hawaiians that had PhD after their name. Isn't that true?
It's very true. In fact, it was hard for me when I was a kid. I didn't know many of my parents' friends that had even made it through high school.
Yeah.
My parents had to quit in the middle of high school because of the war. Once Pearl Harbor got whacked, that was it for school for them. So they wanted me to go to college. They never imagined me going on to graduate school. So I did go to college, but they couldn't have even ever imagined a PhD.
Wow, so you made it through.
Yeah, I made it through. It was a tough road, and it's pretty, for anyone that's out there, Kanaka Maoli or not, if you've been through a PhD program, you know that it's quite a journey.
Yeah, but it's especially tough for native Hawaiians, for Kanaka Maolis, yes?
Well, I think in that, for me, the belief system in my family was one of the things that made it difficult. The belief system was more, especially coming from, you know, a whole lineage of survival mentality coming through the war and the Depression, the overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy. You know, there was a certain attitude that my family, my ohana, never really was able to deliver to me of, hey man, keep going all the way. You can do this. You don't have to stop anywhere. You can like go as far as you want. You can be anything that you want. They just didn't have it. They gave me a great, wonderful lesson of, you know, having more than what we had, but they didn't have much of a big worldview themselves.
Yeah, good. Hanalei, let's go ahead and walk along the beach here as we talk. And
I love doing that.
Isn't it great?
It's
One of my
beautiful.
favorite things to do too.
Yeah.
So up until you came along, basically the mentality was can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes. Well, and it was can't do that, don't expect a whole lot, but it was also, there was just no picture of what's possible.
Yeah, what's possible.
Of what's possible. Yeah. College to my parents was unbelievable, was something that they imagined, and it makes sense. You know, that's as far as they could imagine themselves, or I mean their sons, mm-hmm. You know, their children. But beyond that, it was something that they couldn't really give us a vision or give us an appreciation for. That was just something that I had to develop more on my own as I got older. But once I did that, they of course were really thrilled about it.
Yeah, very good. So let's not keep our viewers in suspense any longer. Let's tell them what your PhD is in.
Oh, yeah, that. It's in life. No, it's in psychology.
Psychology.
Yeah, I have a PhD in psychology, and I'm also licensed as a marriage and family therapist.
Good. So tell us, what does that mean?
Well, what it means is that I'm licensed with the state of California to do psychotherapy with families, with children, with individuals, with couples, and I can do that legally because of my training, education, and experience, which is what the license represents. Mm-hmm. And the PhD obviously is part of that in terms of the education that I've been through.
Very good. How many years did it take you to get there?
Oh, God. Let's see. Well, I did my undergraduate, and then in terms of graduate school, it took 6 years.
Okay, so hold on. Undergrad was what, 4 years?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years, and then, but I didn't go right into graduate school.
Right.
After college, I did a lot of different things. I traveled around the world. I went into the Peace Corps. I traveled, I lived a lot of different places. I wanted to develop my own worldview because it had been so small.
Aha.
And 12 years after I graduated, that's when I got back into graduate school.
Wow. And so graduate school was 2 more years.
No.
No?
Well, graduate school was a total of 6. I got a master's in 2 years, and then another 4 years for the PhD.
Wow, so a total of 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And you did it.
Yes.
You did it.
Yes, by
And
hook or by crook.
You did it at a time when there were very few other Native Hawaiians, Kanaka Maoli, that had PhD after their names, yeah?
It's true, and I knew that also at the time, and it's been so wonderful to see more and more, you know, a lot of really similar stories to mine, where Kanaka Maoli have really seen the value of becoming, you know, our own leaders for ourselves by getting, you know, these degrees in higher education. So it's been great to see all the different PhDs and different professionals that are popping up amongst the Kanaka Maoli.
Yeah, very good. As you know, our show is all about finding people like you, people who have persevered through the obstacles and said, hey, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to get out of my armchair, become an active participant to help create a better, brighter future for Hawaii and the people in Hawaii.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the motivation for me also comes from knowing that there is a lot that I want to contribute and give back. And that I believe anybody can, whether you have an advanced degree or not.
Yeah, very good.
You know?
I hope everybody's listening to that.
Yeah.
See, he said anybody can.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether you have a PhD or a master's. Doesn't even matter if you have a bachelor's. It's great if you do, but even if you don't, there's always something that you can do to give back.
Yeah, even if you have or starting out with nothing,
Yeah.
you can still do something, create something.
That's right, and I want all the kids that are out there, if they watch this, to know that. But you know, it's for them to strive for as high as they can possibly go, and to believe in themselves. But it doesn't matter how much they achieve in terms of externally in the world with regards to a degree. Internally, as long as they have that aloha in their hearts and they want to give back, they can always make a contribution.
Yeah, very good. Hanalei, tell us, where is your ohana, your family from in Hawaii?
My ohana is, gosh, well, if you look at all the reservations on Oahu, that's where my family is. Papakolea, Waimanalo, Nanakuli, Waianae. So that's, you know, where my ohana ended up in the 20th century. Previous to that, part of my mom's side, Keawe side, was from Maui, and Hana side of Maui, and also Kohala on the Big Island. So we're all spread out.
All spread out.
Everyone's spread out. And my mom and dad, after the war, I was actually born here. I am...
Where, here in San Diego?
No, not in San Diego, in California.
In California.
But, you know, I have immigrant parents. You know, they emigrated from Hawaii to California after the war because there were no jobs.
Yeah.
Just like so many people. So I was born here. When my mom was hapai with me in Honolulu, when my dad got transferred from Hickam over here. So I was born here, my brothers were born here, and I was raised for the most part here, but went back and forth to visit my ohana, and because I was raised inside the house with my mom and my dad. They raised us, myself and my brothers, like we would have been raised over in the islands.
Yeah, very good.
Same exact thing, language, music, everything. But of course, once I stepped out of the house into my California environment,
The other world
it
here.
was totally different.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so your family, your immediate family, your mother and father and you and your brothers, were another family who had to leave Hawaii because you just couldn't make it economically over there, yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the deal.
Yep. And so now you live here in San Diego instead of Hawaii. What's that like for you? Being Hawaiian, being a fish out of the fishbowl, let's say.
No, it's really how it feels.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many ways it feels like being in the growing up in the situation that I grew up in, I feel like I have the best of both worlds. But I also feel like there are ways I don't fit in either. I know this place really well. I know Hawaii really well. But I also know that there are ways that I don't feel like I don't fit in here. It's hard to relate. I know when I go back and see my ohana and spend time in Hawaii, there are ways that I don't fit in there because I didn't go to school there. But in my heart, I'm Kanaka Maoli. Always have been ever since I was a kid. Always will be until I die. That's how I identify. That is the anchor that I have for myself in my life.
Yep.
So,
Good.
you know, it's difficult. My wife and I really try and we try and go back every year. And whenever we go, we always try and figure out a way that we can move back and live there, make a living and be okay, you know?
Yep.
And it's always so difficult, because the economy and the jobs and everything. So it's not easy. So we're here, we're at the ocean. I get to raise my daughter near the ocean. I get to take her back to meet her ohana and for her to like be instilled with that sense of what being Kanaka Maoli is too.
Yeah.
And I'm really doing my best to make sure that she understands that part about her.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I play Hawaiian music and chant for a local halau here in San Diego. My wife dances, she does hula. So there are ways that I've been involved in the Hawaiian community here. When the Hokulea was here, came to California, gosh, that's almost 10 years ago?
10 years, 1995.
Yeah.
Hanalei was the first president for the first Pacific Islander Festival here in San Diego when the Hokulea came to and did the West Coast tour.
And I knew at the time when it came, I knew that there was, it was as an opportunity for the Hawaiian community here in San Diego to really do something in a really, really pono way. Mm-hmm. That's all I cared about. It didn't matter whether people knew about me or my efforts. It was more about how do we do this in a way that's pono for us.
Yeah, pono being correct.
Being correct, being the really Hawaiian way that followed protocol, that was respectful to the native people that were already here. Mm-hmm. That also, we did our best. But for the first time, we brought all of the Pacific Islander communities together here in San Diego, and we connected with the Native American tribes that were local here too for the first time, as we welcomed the Hokulea. And to me, that was the best possible way symbolically to welcome such an amazing symbol for Kanaka Maoli, which was the Hokulea.
Yeah. Hanalei, how many people showed up to that first festival? Do you remember?
Gosh.
If you don't, I do.
Oh, the last number I heard, who I thought was like 60,000. Was it more than that?
No, it was about 60,000.
It was about 60,000, that's right.
Yeah. Now they have about 250,000 show up.
Now
it's grown tremendously.
It's grown really, the popularity is amazing.
Yeah. So what do you observe about Hawaii? Because San Diego, of course, California has a large Hawaiian population.
Yes.
Probably the second largest, the largest outside of Hawaii.
Yes.
And so what do you notice about the Hawaiians in, let's say, San Diego, Southern California here? But, living in outside of Hawaii, what's different about them here? Anything different?
Than the Hawaiians that are in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that's different is that and I include myself in this, we all look for an anchor for our sense of who we are as Hawaiians. Mm-hmm. And because we don't have the aina to do that.
Yes.
Yes. Which is the most important thing. Without the aina, it's like that's so much a part of who we are.
That is the anchor.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the anchor. So here, it's different. Yeah, there's some palm trees once in a while. it's by the ocean.
It's beautiful aina, but it's
gorgeous,
no Hawaii.
but it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. That's for all of the aumakua, for all everything about the land that is there. It's something that I think all Hawaiians feel that they're missing. At least I do, being over here, because I know whenever I go back, it's just I feel like I just fill out amazingly in ways that I can't here. So one of the things, your question was what's different about Kanaka Maoli over here on the mainland, and that's one of the things that I've noticed, that I noticed even in the Hawaiian community here. Even if people don't talk about it, because that's what I do for a living, is notice what's going on for people internally. That's my training, that's my career. And I know that for Kanaka Maoli, one of the things that really keeps us kind of one step out of our skin is that lack of connection to the aina. But that's something that, you know, everyone has something to deal with, you know? And that's, you know, I think there are different ways that people try and address that for themselves in their lives. That's why we have Hui o Hawaii, that's why we have Hawaiian Civic Club, that's why we have different organizations to be able to have a sense of community so that we can connect, we can relate to each other, so that we can remind each other, you know, who we are.
Right here in San Diego.
Right here in San Diego.
Hanalei, let's talk about your work, because you brought up something that's very significant, which is you get paid, you're an expert at noticing how people are as a marriage, family therapist. And, you know, for myself, I see parallels in what you do, parallels with the thing in Hawaii called ho'oponopono, making things correct again, making things right, making things whole.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, and ho'oponopono is something that's near and dear to my heart, because it's something that I've done a bit of here for the Hawaiian community. For different ohana that are here, all kinds of pilikia always come up, you know? I mean, that's kind of how it is, you know? We love to fight amongst ourselves. It's because we're so passionate about what we believe in.
Yep.
But
so it's a good thing.
Oh, it's
not
a good
bad
thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a really good thing. It means we care.
Yeah, that's right.
In the meantime, though, it's really important to get through the stuff that keeps us from staying in the same tribe, staying on the same page. And ho'oponopono does that beautifully, because it basically acknowledges the impact that anyone's actions has on anyone around them, calls in, you know, that particular person's aumakua, offer a prayer, ask for forgiveness, make apologies, make amends, and it sets it to right. And so it's something that I've been trained to do professionally, you know, for all the, you know, scientifically, I guess. But it's something that I've always had a really close affiliation with culturally.
Yeah.
And to me, it says so much about who we are as Kanaka Maoli, that we come from that place where this has always been a really important part of our culture.
You know, isn't it interesting that you are from the Hawaiian culture, you're of the Hawaiian culture, and you bring over here to the United States that part of the culture that actually helps contribute to this culture and help heal people, yes?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I think it's one of the